thank you all for taking the time. I'll first ask JC, how's your day going, aside from answering the same questions over and over and over again?
You know, I cannot complain, nor will I. It's wonderful to get to see all of these great human beings again and to talk about this movie for a while.
Well, I'm really delighted to be speaking with all of you because you all come from a lot of different great projects. And of course, we're here to talk about the latest and the greatest. But when did you actually, JC, when did you finish the post production on the film?
Oh wow, we finished post production on Bad Genius in like just barely January of this year. So we were in post production on this film through most of the summer into the fall of last year.
Wow. Okay. Now, how did Callina come onto your radar? And then I want to hear if she has the same understanding that you do about how this all happened, because she's kind of gone from nowhere to everywhere in about a 3 year period.
And we're all really lucky that's the case. You know, we auditioned a lot of people for this part, and I've said this many times today, but when Kalina's tape came across our desk, it was sort of like just we were all sort of blown out of the water by her. I mean, it's one thing to be a good actor; it's another thing to be a good actor who can carry a film. They're two actually very different skill sets, and we are very lucky that Kalina has both of them in spades. And was just a joy the entire time, and it's going to blow up in ways that are going to rock our world.
Benedict, we're going to come to you, promise. But Callina, do you remember auditioning, or was it all a blur for this?
Oh, it was a core memory for me. I remember I got the script. I told JC this as well. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. I was in Singapore at the time visiting my dad, and I was like, let me just read a little bit, go to bed. I could not stop reading the script. It just had me hooked. Finish it at 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna film it tomorrow. And I honestly I messaged my boyfriend at the time. I was like, I don't think I've ever wanted a role this bad in my entire life. The next day comes, I'm filming this thing. There was construction going on outside. I actually break down, like, because I tried to do it. I think it was on the fifth time. I'm stuttering on the same word. I break down so badly, and I call my manager. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this, and I end up crying for 2 hours on the couch. My manager's like, okay, just take a day, do it tomorrow, okay? And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, cause I don't know, I've just never felt stakes so high because I wanted it so bad. But I guess here we are. So
And
thank God that worked out.
here we are now.
None of that showed on the tape, by the way.
Wow.
Thank God. And the background was crazy too. I got my fridge, like it was wild. So yeah, thank God.
Well, Benedict, a pleasure to be speaking with you. My wife is Kalmyk Mongolian, and the excuse that they always have for everything is we're Mongolian. Oh, Genghis would have wanted it that way. So you have to walk around every day being associated with Genghis, with Kublai Khan, etc. How does that impact your everyday life? Have you been able to avoid typecasting?
No, it's given me sort of imperial qualities.
Yes.
No, it's been fine. You know, it's interesting when you play these characters, isn't it? It just kind of works in a bit of a cellular level, I find, the hardware experience that you gather, and that's the sort of joy of acting for me, collecting all these experiences. I think.
For the record, my father-in-law goes by the name the Great Khan. So you may or may not have some influence in the family. But the follow-up to that, you're originally a Manchester guy, if I've done my research. Did you ever go to the hacienda or any of that rave culture stuff back in the day?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was born in Salford, and there's the city next to it, and but yeah, I mean, with the hacienda, I actually did a book reading there with a DJ, yeah, and the Pollen by Jeff Noon, who wrote Vert. I don't know if anyone knows that. It's like these sci-fi books set in Manchester, yeah. So, but it was a great time that period. I mean, I didn't know how blessed we were. Just literally every day of the week, you could go somewhere, and there was just music happening constantly.
Right. Just the weather stunk. But back to JC. Your credits, you've had so much success with streamers and series kinds of shows. Was there any hesitation towards doing a feature like this?
No, I tend to work on whatever feels like it resonates with me in the moment. It really doesn't matter what the genre is. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be a studio, it could be a network, it could be an indie, and I go with it. I mean, I think I come out of the theater, and so we were very scrappy. I grew up in New York City, just doing plays and storefronts and whatnot. And so, I'm scrappy in that way, and I think that indie film resonates with me because it is a very scrappy endeavor. And I think that some of the best stories get told when you kind of got to improvise and make the rules up as you go. So it was a fun experience.
Fantastic. Now, Callina, back to you here. Are we allowed to know what's next, where we're going to see you next, or forever and ever? Is it this film is the greatest thing you've ever done, and don't talk about anything else?
I mean, this film is probably one of the greatest things I've ever done. I love it so much, and I love the people in it. But I am in Presence, which is a film by Steven Soderbergh that will be out next year in January. So that too.
Just a little indie film right there with Soderbergh. That's fantastic. Same thing with you, Benedict. I mean, your choices over the years, it's not like we see you in a film and we automatically know what genre it's going to be. Are we allowed to know where we're going to see you next?
Yeah, I'm starting an indie in Vancouver called Rock Springs, which will star. Well, I'm not even know if. Well, I can definitely tell you that Vera Mao will be directing it. Yeah, but watch that space as it gets announced.
Fantastic. JC, same question at you. I'm going to assume you have about 12 things in development. Sometimes you as the writer, sometimes the director, sometimes both. Are we allowed to know what's coming next?
Yeah, the thing I'm working on right now is I'm doing a biopic on the life and music of Boy George for TriStar Pictures. Yeah, so I'm in the midst of that project now. I'll be back in the midst of it as soon as I finish all of these interviews. But it's a fun one. It's a very, very fun one. He's a really incredible, remarkable figure in pop culture. So
Yeah.
and pop music is something that I love with every fiber of my being. So it's a very exciting project.
The follow-up on that before I let you all go is, what's the source of this Boy George biopic? Is it his biography?
It's all of his memoirs. I mean, really, it's him. I mean, he and I text, and he sends me lots of really, really fun things from his life. So he is the ultimate source material for this, and it's gonna be a really, really fun one.
Got it. Well, keeping the compliments going. Congratulations to all on Bad Genius. You should be really proud, and really looking forward to what all three of you have coming up in the near future.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Paltrocast.